Yes, I am wearing a different hat. I'm wearing my hat as an entrepreneur. And yes, I wanted to take you through just a few things about being an entrepreneur, about being an entrepreneur and being in the circular economy, trying to achieve circularity, and some of the learnings that I have had along the way. So I've broken it into three parts. Yes, sorry, there will be a little bit of a pitch about what I do as founder, and Murray and Ben and Gillian also are co-founders. And I will do a little bit of a pitch, but first I want to start with what entrepreneurship and circularity, how they intersect, and then I'll finish off with the learnings I've had. So first thing, you will notice I do not have a beard. And I'm not a hipster. This is what we think entrepreneurs look like. We're being sold this story that entrepreneurs are young bearded hipsters. And that doesn't gel necessarily for what we need in the circular economy, because it is complex. There is also another little bit of a problem. Julio mentioned very heavily that we need to be thinking about circularity in our design and making beautiful product. But I can tell you, going in as an entrepreneur, people want to put money into dating apps, not into circular economy. One's sexy, one's not. So we need to break that. There's also been comments about the fact that the circular economy isn't circular and it's not an economy. We need to make that, and that's something we can do together. But we see it slightly differently. Doug and I have been doing a lot of workshops and a lot of discussions around circular economy. And often it starts with people talking about design, recycling, and then they talk about reuse. We disagree. We think the first thing should be the second life market. And that cat's actually meant to represent 9 lives, not just that it's a cute cat. So we need to think about the second life markets before we do anything else. If we do that, then design can follow that lead. And you know what? Recycling recovery becomes a transition. It's the movement. It's the matchmaking that we've talked about. And it can be bespoke for particular materials. Steve Wong has been quoted for saying 43,000 types and combinations of plastic. It's complex. We need to have second life markets, driving design, and then the medium to move them. To do that, and I'm a bit biased here, you need entrepreneurs. You need people who are prepared to break the system, try again, and rebuild something new. So we do need to encourage and nurture entrepreneurship. So one of the things I do teach you as an entrepreneur, pitch, pitch, pitch. So this was the bit I did promise you that, yes, I am going to do a little bit of a pitch. PlastX is the matchmaking service that was alluded to earlier, in that we're a startup. We're very new in our journey. We have our MVP, which is our product to go to market, and our value proposition is that you can buy the R plastic you want in Asia from people who are going to collect and earn. So just taking you through that, what it means is that in Asia there are a lot of people who actually could do with extra income. And they would quite happily collect bottles. Now, it doesn't mean that they have to be waste pickers. Any cafe that serves drinks could become a collector. So yes, they collect and earn. They're the boss. They decide what jobs they want to do and what they don't. and they get support along the way. So they get told how to recognise the right materials so that we get perfect source separation. For business, what it means is that you get the R plastic you need. So whatever the plastic is, by type, colour, condition, location, it's what's collected. And at price, that's the key thing. And we're new, we've got to shake up the model. We know price is difficult, but until we test and really push the boundaries, we don't know if we can, we've got to test this, we've got to give it a go. We source plastic responsibly. So that's something that may not be on the radar here, but there is a lot of child labour and sometimes the worst forms involved in waste picking in Asia. So this is something that, because we know who's picking and we know where they are, we can give some levels. Now, I'm never going to promise that there's 100%, but it's better than the current system. And brand authenticity. We can deliver that traceability. We can go further and actually audit. So it's a way to actually have something more for your brand, which we call conscious plastic. And it helps the brands then make the communication. So you know the real people, and the brands get to see this. They know who's collecting. They know that there is child protections built into it. And they then have something they can tell the world about. It works very simply. It's an app. We're a tech startup. Tech startup, not bearded hipsters. So yeah, we post the job, the collector says what they'd like to collect, and they drop it off and they earn money. And love to be talking to Rotary about this. For the buyers, it's they know what they put the buy, they get real-time tracking, and they get to reuse, and best of all, communicate what they're doing. And we do all the back work. We mobilise the collectors, we get the drop-off hubs, and we arrange the logistics to get back. So, thank you for indulging me on the pitch. Now it is my takeaways as someone who's been on this journey for a year and a half. The ecosystem for entrepreneurship is formulaic. Everybody is expected to go through the same kind of process to get access to investment funds. The disconnect is that circular economy is far more complicated than that. I've done pitches where people know nothing about Asia, they know nothing about plastic. They think one bottle can just, that's the only plastic type. So sometimes starting on this journey is actually having to do a huge education piece, which in itself is challenging when you're given, as one pitch I had to do, 30 seconds to pitch to an audience who knew nothing about circular economy. They knew nothing about plastic. It was a very quick pitch. Luckily, being Australian, I can talk very, very fast. So, circular economy entrepreneurs are competing against dating apps. We were lucky to be selected into the Coca-Cola Amatil Accelerate program, which was fantastic. We seriously were competing with a dating app, which is basically for couples to organise their own dates. You're living with the person, but it's too hard to actually say, let's go over here for dinner. So, you're competing with those messages. It's very complex. And there's actually a whole ecosystem earning money off entrepreneurs. So there's all these middle people getting their extra slice off you before you can actually get into the market. Funding. Price, price, price. We've heard it. Money, money, money. Funding for entrepreneurs in this space is very, very hard to get because they want traction. That's great if you're a dating app. You can get 12 people signed up and and show that, look, I got people to do this, they showed intent. When you're talking about a brand new break the mould, or try to break the mould, circular economy approach, everyone's going, oh, who's going to buy it? And then, of course, a corporate has to take a huge leap of faith to actually get involved. So the lead times are long, the process is more complicated. But I think there are meaningful ways that that could be addressed. And that's one of the things I'm quite passionate about, helping prove those points for anyone who's got an idea. Pitch, 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 do. I mentioned the 30-second. When you're an entrepreneur and trying to get into investment, everybody has their own protocol of what you have to do. So you fill out a form over and over and over, and then they say pitch. Then you're told how long your pitch is. You might get 8 minutes at the most. But then it's 5, then some are 3. Some are 60 seconds, some are 90 seconds, some are 30 seconds. All of this is just artificial. It's an artificial constraint that stops a true conversation about entrepreneurship in circular economy. So that's one I'd love to see broken. And country of origin. I am Australian, and Australia does not have an appetite for much investment in circular economy. Certainly not in these kind of programs. There's certainly investment for facilities, but not for other riskier approaches. But then you've also got Asia. Asia actually has got these investment vehicles. They're growing, they're building their family offices, but they're still emerging. They're still trying to understand this space. And then you've got the EU with so sophisticated models of investment. But of course, the rest of the world can't access any of that. So it's one of those things that country of origin actually could be the thing limiting our solutions to circular economy. And I don't mean to be negative. So the thing is, don't give up. I've had more people say no to me in the last 18 months and to tell me, gee, that won't work. And sometimes you think, maybe it won't, but if I give up, I'll never know and no one will ever see the idea. So determination and resilience is essential. The one thing they do teach you is the ask. And this one I agree with. When you want something, you've got to ask for it. So here's my ask, if I go the right way on the pages. Embrace circular economy entrepreneurship. Give people your time. Share their stories. You don't know who will actually find that connection and make it happen. Remember, they do not have your resources. And we're not all the same. We're not all bearded hipsters. Think Second Life markets to create that demand. And most importantly, dream what it could be like if it were a success. And then come up with the objections. Go for that journey just for 30 seconds of what could it be if I said yes. Last one is be entrepreneurs. If you're working within a company, you've got the best position to be able to say, why do we do this way? And get the change. So yes, and that last message being persistence beats resistance. So keep plugging at it.